Hello and welcome to our review of the latest episode of Doctor Who this year, which was The Witch's Familiar. This was the follow-up to last week's The Magician's Apprentice.
And before that, The Sorcerer and the Stone.
And that. And before that was Fantasia. I can't remember who did First Thoughts last week. I think it was you.
Yeah, probably. That was a week. You expect me to remember what happened a week ago?
I can remember what happened in the episode. I can't remember what order we chatted.
I can't remember. I can barely remember what I did yesterday.
Well, that's because you... Carry on.
You go first.
Right, I'll go first. I liked it. I thought it was a very interesting take on things because obviously last week we didn't really know what the plot line was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Usually with most two-parters, ones I'm just running off the top of my head at least, you know where the plot's going more or less. You know what the situation is or how it needs to be dealt with. End of last week's episode, Missy and Clara were killed, in inverted commas.
No, they weren't.
We all knew they hadn't been, but nevertheless they were removed from the equation. We didn't know what had happened to them. Mm-hmm. I can phrase it like that at least. Doctor was trapped on Skaro with Davros and the Daleks. We didn't exactly know what was going to be happening though. All we know that the Doctor thought he was going to die.
Mm.
But other than that, there was no real plot other than how does the Doctor get out of this one? Tune in next time, same Doctor Who time, same Doctor Who place. Which wasn't actually the same Doctor Who time.
No.
It was 5 minutes later.
Was it?
Yeah, it was.
Wibbly wobbly.
Timey-wimey.
It's a joke here.
Next week's even later, which is annoying me. I want Doctor Who to have a set time that doesn't move.
Well, the Strictly's on before it.
I know, Strictly is. Which Strictly has to have a set time, I know, but I would like it if
On
Doctor
theory, Strictly should get shorter as each week goes by. From what I understand how it works.
In theory, but they just after a while they start doing two dances each. Why are we talking about Strictly?
Well, I want to. I don't even know. Other than Ainsley Harriott, I don't even know who's in Strictly this year.
Peter Andre and Tim Vine. No, Jeremy Vine. Tim's brother.
Anyway.
And Jamelia, because I caught the end of it this week's because I had to set up my aerial for Doctor Who. Anyway, I enjoyed it this week. We had a very different take. Davros actually had a huge amount of attention to him this week, and a huge amount of character development. The manipulation from Davros was incredible. For a part, I'm going, wow, this is turning into the Dr. Davros show. It's really weird. Because there are moments when you feel, you feel... By the way, I'll just quickly add this in now. If you are watching this review, you should have seen the episode, so I'll put in the spoilers moment here before I say anything. But the moment where Davros is kind of being sympathetic and empathetic, you feel some kind of sympathy and caring for him. Because for a while, he is this dying old man. He's not Davros.
In fact, he's died several times before in the show.
Yeah, he has. But this one... Yeah, but we've never seen him... This wasn't a slow, gradual death. It was moment. As in, he's killed. That's it. This one, you actually developed a kind of feeling for him. And then, of course, is the revelation that it was all a trick, which we all knew what was coming, but at the same time, you felt pulled in for it a little bit. I did, at least. I was kind of going, I know he's going to be tricky, but a part of me doesn't want him to. I have to admit, though, it was a clever way. The whole thing was one big ploy from Davros, so I've got to say kudos to him for that.
Oh, it hit the realm of bullshit comic book plots very quickly.
Yes, it did, but at the same time, it's not the first time we've had moments like that for Doctor Who.
No, it's not. I want to insert that Spider-Man clip from the animated TV show. This is starting to sound like a bad comic book plot.
No, but I quite liked this episode. It wasn't the same as last week. I did like a lot of the references they managed to get in for this week's, though. Particularly whoever was the actor, they had to briefly play the Tom Baker. We never saw the face, but I would have thought, at first glance, there could have been a very young Tom Baker still.
Was Tom Baker? He regenerated.
He did regenerate.
Back into Tom Baker.
Just visiting a few of the old favourites.
Yeah.
My particular reference that I liked was the whole Clara going into a Dalek suit.
Yes.
Which is, of course, how we met Clara the very first time. With Oswin, Asylum and the Daleks.
And her souffle.
Yep. And the whole thing of I'm a Dalek, a lot of that was literally dialogue lifted from it. That was really nice. Quite heartbreaking at the end as well. And that kind of that she can't say who she is. Literally, it's not she doesn't want to, but she is actually unable to. And a part of me was going, it's her! You know it's her! Oh, God, just get it done. It was kind of breaking my heart, because a part of me was going, I know he's going to realise it's her, but it's painful to watch. Not on a it's bad to watch, but as in, it's emotionally painful.
The plot twist, you actually shot her. No one would have seen that coming.
No one would have seen that coming.
Okay.
Very in character for Missy, that whole thing. And I do want to know what the hell her clever thought was.
Oh, who knows?
We'll find out at some point.
Convoluted as fuck.
And of course, the whole thing of what Davros again has been killed this time, from what we can gather.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, we don't know quite what state new Skaro is going to be in.
Yeah, they cleaned Skaro up pretty good. And last time I saw it, it was pretty much a shithole.
To be fair, it wasn't much better when they left it this time.
Yeah. But that was the Doctor's fault.
Usually is.
Yeah. Well, no, the last time they destroyed themselves.
Yes, they did.
I doubt Daleks make good gardeners.
Oh, that was Davros who destroyed it last time, wasn't it? It was Revelation of the Daleks.
It
was the Sylvester McCoy one where Davros mentioned it, which had my favourite dialogue of unlimited rice pudding.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was that one because Doctor gave Davros more power than he deserved. Then gave him the power he wanted, but he accidentally, it was too much power. He ended up destroying Skaro's son. Something I can't remember that plot. I've seen the episode a very long time ago. But generally, I like this episode. It set things up quite interestingly. The end sequence was quite nice, actually, as well.
Mm.
With the Doctor saving Davros as a child, which is quite nice. Which obviously lifts up from where the cliffhanger kind of left up last week.
Yes.
So I actually got to see that, which is quite nice. I'm not really sure my thoughts on other than that. I enjoyed it. I thought.
What about as the two together as one?
What do you mean?
I don't know, just how... Imagine it wasn't a two-parter, it was just one story. Was it a good opening story for the season? Or was it kind of like... Or do you think they've blown their load too early?
I don't think they've done that. Next week's looks interesting.
Yeah, next week's interesting.
We'll move on to next week's later.
Next week?
Well, we'll do what we think of what it's going to be like in a minute. I think it's a good... As a whole opening, putting the two stories together, because it is one storyline, and ignoring it's a two-parter, I think it's a good opening to the story. It's a good opening to the series. We've got a very interesting take on the Doctor. We know who he is now, and it had nice development from him, actually, which is kind of setting up the whole relationship between him and Clara, which is quite nice. Yeah. One thing that slightly miffed me is the no sonic screwdriver anymore. It's sonic sunglasses. I knew that was coming ages ago because I remember reading it.
Available now from Toys R Us.
Won't be long. Character Toys will be making them.
I
wouldn't be surprised. But no, the screwdriver will be back in some shape or form. It always does.
I wouldn't put that power drill or something. Sonic power drill.
That's going too far. It's always a screwdriver.
Yeah.
I tell you, always a screwdriver. John Pertwee was the first one to ever have a screwdriver.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that happened. And the Seventh Doctor never had a screwdriver.
Some don't.
I think they're the only ones that didn't. All the others have had screwdrivers. The only ones that didn't were 1, 2, and 7. That's it. All the rest have had them. Mostly, a lot of them have been very similar designs.
Yeah.
I think 4 through to 6 were all identical. 4 through to 8 were all identical designs. Very slight variations on like the colour scheme for them. But they all worked very much the same way. 9 had a different one. That was the blue-tipped one.
Yes.
And
10 had the blue tip.
10 had blue tip, but a slight variation on the colour. It was a bit whiter rather than cream. 11 had the green claw thing, which 12 got to keep.
Claw. Sorry.
Yeah, claw. And War Doctor had a completely different design again. But screwdriver is just typically one of those things that it's become part of Doctor Who again. Mm-hmm. And I think at some point they'll bring it back. I think it's just at the moment.
Once the Twitter storm gets started,
This is something new, though. We know weeks before.
What?
We knew weeks before the episode was going to air that the screwdriver was going. Moffat and Capaldi both said in different interviews weeks and weeks ago that it's not going to be a screwdriver anymore, it's going to be sunglasses. It's not new. So it wasn't a big shock to me to see it. It was kind of going, well, I know he doesn't use a screwdriver anymore. I know he uses sunglasses. I've already read it. But I think it's a good opening to the story. As my mum said last week and again this week.
So we need the official mum comment of the week.
I'll give you the official mum comment for this week in a moment. But she said generally you can't go wrong with the Daleks.
Oh, you can.
Well, we
Daleks
know
in Manhattan proves you can.
You can. Very true. But I think Daleks were did quite well for the past 2 weeks. Because they weren't the main... They were the... Well, Davros served as the
They
main...
stood in the room shouting at each other. That's all they did for the entire episode.
To be fair, this episode is very different than most Dalek episodes. It wasn't a Dalek seek to destroy everything. It was a kind of a doctor saving Davros. It was a very odd take. Mum's comment, she liked it this week. Not as much as she's enjoyed it last week. But again, as she said, you can't go wrong with the Daleks. She enjoyed it. That's about it, really. I don't get much. We don't tend to go in depth much in Mum reviews, but she liked it again. She's very interested to see next week's. Looks interesting, but she liked this week, just not as much as she enjoyed last week's. She thought it was too much talking this week. She thought a lot of this week was a lot of talking, and she lost some parts of it were too fast, and she kind of lost what was happening. Your thoughts? We've had my thoughts.
I preferred it to last week's.
I agree.
Because I don't know why. I'm trying to think. I think it's more happened. The first episode seemed very rushed to me, especially in the beginning. You know, you have the bit with the planes that has no point whatsoever to be there.
It
just kind of felt... It was meandering right until the end, the first episode.
This one was a lot more on point.
Yes, on focus, what it was doing. And I like the duologue between Doctor and Davros.
I really liked their dialogue. It was
I like
bizarre.
Davros. Yeah, it was a good scene. Like, this is genuinely interesting. He's gonna fuck him over some way. And I already knew something to do with those wires because he told Snake Boy,
Colony staff,
to, you know, and you see what briefly one of them's the snake.
Yeah.
So there's something, some sort of trap's gonna be sprung at some point.
You just don't know what the trap is,
No.
particularly.
But yeah, it was good. Some nice insight on Davros and
Which is
Daleks.
what I liked about it. It was nice actually getting in depth because we know very little about him in terms of some of the stuff. I mean, yeah, a lot of it was lies, but
Or was
nevertheless.
it?
Well, that's the question, of course. That's one of those
And,
weird things. Was it all a lie?
Or was,
I
it,
enjoyed it.
was it a lie, then the truth, then the lie again?
Well,
Layers.
A triple bluff.
Yeah. Who knows? Even he doesn't know if it's the truth or not. No one knows. Truly, no one knows what's going on. But yeah, I liked it. Compared to last week's was good for like the last 10 minutes. The rest of it just like, what's the point of all this? Other than to show you've got a budget. And Peter
I quite
Capaldi.
like Clara in this week, actually.
I like her in the Dalek. Although I ask why there's that much space in the Dalek. Because they're not that big, the actual Dalek things.
Well, some of them are.
It was about usually
Dalek Sec was pretty big in his one when we saw that in.
He'd been mutated, hadn't he?
Was severely mutated, yeah.
Yeah, to hold the American guy.
Yeah.
So what the empty space at the bottom is actually for? It just seems to be empty, you know.
It's motors usually, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like it's just all Missy pulls out is the Dalek at the top. And like there's a lot of space in those things. The Dalek can be efficient. And like it's just there's a lot of empty space in this. But that's just me being me and picking them apart.
I was really expecting a bit more of a reference to the whole
Yeah.
Oswin being the Dalek, particularly from the Doctor. I was expecting something a bit more of a reference to it. But that bit really does break your heart with someone trying to say it's me and it coming out as I am a Dalek.
It's just weird when Daleks are. Daleks usually go around going, I am a... We generally know Daleks. They're quite iconic. It's weird. But not as weird as having them serve you tea.
That's still one of my favourite episodes.
You get...
It's got Winston Churchill. It's
that
brilliant.
level of hate in that voice.
Would you like some tea?
I hate... That is like a really pissed off waiter I have somewhere. He just hates his job in every conceivable way.
And does not want to be there. Makes no bones about not home. But no, generally I liked this episode. I thought it was a good opener. It set us up for a very interesting direction.
Will it come up again?
More than likely. Missy's been left on Sky.
Oh, she'll be fine.
No, but it's not just left on Sky. She's left on Sky with her lines, oh, I've just had a very clever thought.
Yeah.
or idea. I can't remember what exact words were.
Something to
I had a very clever thought idea.
thought idea.
Which means something's gonna happen.
Mm.
Although if it did, would that be the first time the Master, I'm going with the term the Master here, has ever teamed up with the Daleks?
Well, no, he teamed up with the Daleks at the beginning of that Doctor Who movie that must never be mentioned, and then got executed for it.
Yes, very true.
Other than that, I can't remember.
I don't think I've ever shared episodes.
Probably not.
Going from what I can remember, first time the Dark Master appeared was teamed up with the Autons.
Yeah.
When else have we teamed? I'm trying to think when else have we seen the Master? He's never been with another recurring monster that I can think of.
No. I can't remember if the Master was in.
The only one that I think he appeared in the Demons and the Green Death. I think one of those. It was one of the ones with Peter Davison.
Yeah.
Colin Baker.
Peter Davison's first episode, I think.
I think it was, yeah. Which I think was the Green Death then.
Peter Davison's first episode, he wanders around looking lost and picks apart Tom Baker's scarf at one point.
Colin Baker, he appeared with him. He appeared in Trial of a Time Lord.
Yes, he did.
But which featured no recurring villains.
Mm.
We'll change that because we had a Valiard there, who is an iconic villain. I want to bring back one day.
They're scraping the bottom of the barrel of the classic series now. I'm sure it'll come at one point.
You've had... Valiard appears still in the Big Finish audio series, which is nice. I quite like that. That's why I like the Big Finish stuff. To be fair, that's where most of 8's canon is.
It's competently written as well.
And very well acted.
They get all the... They get the talent.
What was it think about? And Master also appeared with Sylvester McCoy. He appeared in the very last episode, actually, of Doctor Who before the movie, didn't he?
He did.
Which was Wilderness or something like that. It's to do with the cheetah people.
Yes, I vaguely remember the cheetah people. Didn't the Master have funny eyes or something?
Yes, because he was turning into one.
Yes.
Anyone who was exposed to the planet radiation. Ace was as well, and so was... I think the Doctor was for a while as well.
We need another companion like Ace who's not afraid to take a baseball bat to a Dalek.
Or Dorothy.
Nah.
Because her actual name was Dorothy, which is what I love.
I know, but I'm cool though.
I love Ace. Ace is
I just want someone to take a baseball bat to a Dalek again.
I really like Ace.
His first reaction is to blow something up. If that doesn't work, try it again. But bigger.
Ace was a cool character, generally. I think Don is probably a very good example of a modern take on a very Ace-like character.
Mm.
I would say Amy in some shape or form, a bit like Ace, but by the end of it, at various points, she wasn't so much. She became a bit more of a eye candy.
She was very attractive.
She was very attractive.
My bias for redheads, not notwithstanding.
You and I have a shared bias on that. But at the same time, Amy utilised looks a lot more. Mm. And I don't know if that's a matter of just Stephen Moffat and how he does writing for some of his companions. Because to be fair, Clara seems to suffer from the same thing a lot as well. It's kind of... They have moments, but when I speak with some people on the matter of... I feel this is going to be turning into a very long thing about us talking about companions and Stephen Moffat's writing. I
have a lot to say about Stephen Moffat's writing.
I've spoken with quite a few people on it, and they all seem to agree he can't write companions very well.
I like Rory.
I like Rory. It's female characters he doesn't seem to be able to write particularly well.
There are very few people who can write good female characters these days.
Very true. I'll see if I can find the exact wording. Give me a moment.
They're either eye candy or gender politics run down your throat for 10 hours. Until you're just like, I get it! And trouble is, when they're just gender politics run down, they're not characters, they're propaganda. It's just the problem. If you write a woman the same way you write a man in terms of a character, very rarely you need to do you're in a world where there is drastic difference between males and females, then you will. But generally, what makes a good male character makes a good female character. There is no such thing as the good female character. There is a good character, but not a good female character.
Alright, you ready for this?
Yes.
Right. These are not my words. These are the words of someone else.
Here
I
is
will
his
quickly
Facebook
say
address,
that.
so you send your hate here.
No. I won't give names in that. But if this person does end up listening, these are your words, and I'm simply just putting them out there
Mr.
for
X
conversation.
or Miss X.
It's Miss X in this case, in
No,
this situation.
give it away.
With Moffat, I feel he tries to put in too much and then doesn't follow through with a lot of it, generally. Plus, I don't
Yeah.
like how he writes women. In his mind, he obviously thinks a strong woman is someone who kicks ass, who's kick-ass and sassy, which is fair enough. But all his female characters are like that. Not to mention they all fancy the Doctor, which does my head in.
That does my head. That did my head with Rose the most.
She says that. It was fine with Rose because A, it was nicely built up and not shoved in your face all the time, and B,
So
she
I
fell for
disagree with that latest series of TV10. It shoved it in your face a lot.
hang on, and she fell for Eccleston rather than more conveniently more attractive doctors. But I felt the other two companions had a good message to them. Rose had no A levels and was struggling to get by, and it showed she had this massive potential to do amazing things. Martha got herself out of a relationship that she knew she wasn't good for her and wanted to go do her own thing. And Donna was older, and she was typically pretty or skinny. Not that I'm saying she's fat and ugly. And she was still living with parents and working dead-end jobs, and showed kids that even in later life you can make something for yourself. Moving on from the Moffat ones then, it's Amy was okay, but it annoyed me she would pick the Doctor over Rory because she loves him and she met the Doctor once when she was a child. I guess she might think of him as an imaginary friend and run off for adventure that she dreamed about, but I don't like her falling for the Doctor. I would rather her only have eyes for Rory because it shows men and women can have platonic relationships. And then she just randomly
Not
became a
according to
model.
fiction, they can't. All the fan bases, they can't. Carry on.
I do agree with this last bit. Well, not this last bit, but the bit she goes, and then she just randomly became a model because she had no real job in the beginning, which makes me think Moffat didn't care about giving her much of a backstory. Which, to be fair, is very true because when we first
That
meet
did
her
come
as a
up,
grower, she's a kissogram,
Yeah.
and then she
I'm
suddenly.
surprised they got away with actually knowing what
It's because they only mentioned it once. That's it. They never mentioned
British
it ever
moms
again.
are like.
Some
So,
people mentioned it.
yeah, I'm like, I'm surprised they got away with that.
Here we are. Same with Clara, who's never mentioned to be a teacher to start with, and suddenly ends up as one later. Not to mention, I do not like the whole Born to Save the Doctor thing because I just felt it made her out to be this Mary Sue character, and she should have been able to come back once she'd done that. And then her and the Doctor had such a toxic relationship, constantly lying to each other, and she mistreated Danny, which wasn't a good example to kids. Who cares if you have a loving partner at home when this mystery man can sweep you off your feet? It was like Amy and Rory again.
Isn't that the moral of every romance novel ever, anyway?
Which one?
The idea that there's always a mystery man sweep you off your feet.
Yeah, but not once you've got another one at home.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are quite a few.
Oh, here we. She makes reference to the sexualizing the companions as well.
Well, that's been done since God only knows when.
The very big one I can think of is Perry,
Yeah.
who of course
Always had her tits out.
ruined the regeneration sequences because of her cleavage.
Well, I say improved. And, your mileage may vary. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's not a modern thing. That's been going on since God only knows how. No idea of it.
But I was speaking with a guy at work as well, who loves Doctor Who, and he thinks that Moffat doesn't seem to write companions very
I
well.
think Moffat can't write most things very well. Or if he does, he comes up with an idea, awesome idea for the long term, and kind of either forgets about it and goes, oh shit.
It's not plot-wise they're talking about here. They're talking in terms of characters, as in when you write the character. Because when he writes leads, he's good for it. His dialogue for the Doctor is always very good. I've never had a problem with him writing the Doctor. Equally, I know you don't watch it, but Sherlock, which he writes with Mark Gatiss, and I think it's Toby Whitehouse is the other third one they tend to work with. His dialogue for Sherlock and John is always very good. It's always very on point. It's never struck me as weak. Writing for some other characters can be interpreted in that way. I generally quite like the Sherlock ones because he only writes one episode because there's only 3 episodes a series, much to the annoyance of the fans.
Or in my case, the cystic joy I get out of it. But yes.
I can kind of see the point. There are some issues that...
I'll tell you this, writing believable dialogue is one of the hardest things anyone can
It's
do.
incredibly
It's hard
difficult.
to make things believable, especially if you try and get exposition out at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be hard. Or some techno-babble. Look at Star Trek Next Generation, you want just techno-babble makes no sense.
It's difficult doing it generally, even if you're not... If you're writing a script, it's difficult because...
Writing dialogue's really hard to make.
But just writing prose, which you and I both write. We write plays, we write scripts, and we write prose. It's impossible for it not to sound forced and just kind of info dump right there, like this huge
I think a
dialogue.
lot of problems people have is
It's
they
very
always
difficult to
write
do.
people's speech as grammatically correct when we very rarely speak grammatically correct.
Yeah.
And they're
And
like,
then
no, it
just
must
then-
be grammatically correct because grammar Nazi. And I go, that's fine. If you don't speak grammatically correct,
And then it's very difficult to find individual voices for characters as well, so they don't all sound the same, which is tricky. It takes a
It's
very long
harder
time.
in sort of
to get.
prose because you haven't got actors doing accents, different looks. You've just got someone's imagination, something that's slowly dying rapidly.
But even then, when you're writing a script, it's difficult unless you know what kind of voice you've got in the head for it. And sometimes it's difficult when you're writing it, because when you write it, you know, oh, I know how they say it. But when you write it, it's different than how they'd actually say it.
Never write scripts in a dialect.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Don't.
It's borderline impossible to read. Fuck that play.
Unless the whole thing is written like that because of that.
Still fuck that play. And
some plays work for it. If it's regional, it works. I've done a couple like that. They're a nightmare to read,
Yeah.
but if it's designed for actors with that dialect, they will be able to understand it.
That's why I've never realised that Shakespeare scripts aren't meant to be read. Why do they study Shakespeare in literature when you should study it in drama?
They shouldn't study it in literature.
I know, they're scripts. They're not meant to be read.
'Cause
That's why they're dull. That's why they're dull. The script. You remember the script? They're dull as anything. I don't have to read.
We've got enough point. Well, slightly.
Back
No, I like this week's episode generally. I liked it. I preferred it to last week because there was stuff moving with it. We knew where it was going now a bit more. I like what they did with Davros.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the time actually with Missy and Clara. I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm. Pointy stick.
Point stick.
If I rocked down, I just pushed it.
We all knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about Missy. She's predictable, but not to the sense of dull. Kind of, I'm not surprised. It's like, I enjoyed it. It was exactly what I wanted it to be. Which is what I liked about it. Should we talk about next week's from the
ghosts or whatever they are?
Yeah,
They reminded me of one of those things that follow Richard E. Grant around in that episode. The no faces almost.
Oh, those
Yeah.
the faceless men.
Yes, they reminded me of them.
Yeah, they did, didn't they? Well, only one of them was like that. Though.
Yeah.
The others are all different. So we've got ghosts
There was one
at
that
the
had
bottom of the sea in a nuclear reactor.
Wow.
That's Doctor Who very much in a nutshell.
Wow. I could just leave, but
I get this feeling that sometimes they pick up the plots of episodes. They've got like this huge board filled with who's, what's, and where's, and they could just kind of put pins into which ones. Right, it's going to be
What's the office?
ghosts.
It's going to be in medieval Europe with Zygons. Like done, and I'm like, that doesn't really make any sense. We're going to
But that's
be.
how they. But at the same time,
That's how we got dinosaurs on the spaceship.
I love that.
Even
That's
that
good.
someone went on fanfiction.net.
I love that episode. It's still one of my favourites. Just the concept was brilliant. I did have a conversation with someone about that, but I'll save that for another time. Yeah, but next week's looks very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's one-parter again next week.
Oh, thank God.
I don't know when.
Which means the third act will be rushed. Because they always fucking are in Doctor Who.
We've got Zygons are back this season
Somewhere.
with a two-parter.
Mm.
There's another two-parter, and I think the finale is a two-parter as well.
Finales are often two parters.
Yeah, but they always are. I've never known a finale not to be a two-parter.
Well,
Actually.
usually there's a mid-season two-parter and a fallout. Wow, a finale. Why is a fallout? A finale two-part. That's what they always used to have.
Yeah.
Mid-season one and the finale one. Yeah,
I'm
that's
checking.
if I hack into my backdoor into the BBC offices. Shh. Ah.
Right, here we are. Right. Right, the two-parters this series are. Oh, that's interesting. Last Christmas counts to this series.
That's good. Sorry.
I like that one. So we've got The Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar.
Yes.
Oh, hang on. Oh, bloody hell, there's loads of two-parters.
All of the series is two-parters.
Next week's is part one of a two-parter.
I'm going to kill someone.
It's Under the Lake and then Before the Flood. You are kidding me. Right.
Are they all two-parters?
Reading the titles, these are the ones we've got. These are all the episodes for this series. Magician's Apprentice and The Witch's Familiar. That was this week and last week.
Yeah.
Next week is Under the Lake. The week after that is Before the Flood. They both have the same director and the same writer, which suggests a two-part.
They are. I'm gonna repeat it now. They are all two-parters.
Then I don't know if the next one is a two-parter or not because it's got different writers, which is odd for a two-parter.
Yeah.
Then you've got the girl who died and the woman who lived.
They sound very similar.
Same directors.
They sound like the girl who died and the woman who lived.
They've got if that's the case, they've got different writers for two-parters, which is
That's
very
not uncommon. Maybe TV, but in other things that doesn't happen.
Right. So after the woman who lived, you've got the Zygon invasion and then the Zygon inversion.
They go backwards now.
Then you've got Sleep No More and Face the Raven. They both got
Mark
the same
Gatiss.
direct-
Oh,
Yeah.
finally give Mark Gatiss a two-parter. He always needs a two-parter.
If that is a two-parter, it's not a two-parter because he's not writing the second
Yeah.
one. That's Face the Raven, but it's the
He
same
always
directors,
needs to,
which
I
would
always-
suggest it.
I always do like
If I don't know, I'd say this entire series is 6 two-parters,
punch someone.
and then you've got Heaven Sent and Hell Bent,
Yeah, which is the finale.
which is the finale. Which is really weird. That's the most ever two-parter. If it's all, it can't all be two-parters, surely. No.
Well, they were filmed in blocks together.
Yeah, I'm looking at the block. I'm
Yeah,
just looking
right.
at it myself
Whereas
as well.
Face the Raven, Heaven Sent, Sleep No More, all filmed separately, even though two of those actually are part of the.
Interesting.
Fascinating, Captain.
I think they are all two-parters because I'm looking at the producers as well.
So
Producers are the same.
yeah.
Producers match up for the ones we think. It's 6 two-parters by the looks of it.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
Oh, and we do know one that's going to be coming up at some point. We don't know where it is, but they're going to be going back to Pompeii at some point.
Oh, yes. I will.
It won't be
The
next
girl who
week.
died?
Possibly. I'm clicking on that one now.
Didn't the Peter Capaldi have a daughter in that episode of Pompeii?
Yeah, children.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, he had a son and a daughter.
Yeah.
Oh! No, but the girl who died is the one with Maisie Williams.
Oh, okay.
The girl who died and the woman who lived is Maisie Williams, so we've got that one.
Okay.
If it doesn't say which one.
Sleep No More. Unless it's the finale in Pompeii.
Hang on. Filming for the story took place in. No, that was the opening two-parter. I can't see where it is. They've got no information about like who's directing it or what. We don't know when they're going back to Pompeii, but we know at some point this season they're going back to Pompeii. I don't know which one it is though, because I don't know who's directing it or anything. I'm checking it through all now. Just. Oh yeah, Reece Shearsmith's going to be in one of them. I'm looking forward to that one. I like him. He's in Sleep No More, which is the Mark Gatiss one, of course it
Rufus
is.
Hound. I thought he was in this series.
Is he in this one?
Yeah, Rufus Hound is.
Oh, very good. There's a lot of people coming back this series, actually.
Come back. Interesting. Well, I think we've run the course of that.
I think so, yes.
So he's now deep in research.
I am.
By that I mean he's
Cool.
cool. He's got a doctor signal in the sky.
Paul Kay had a guest. Paul Kay's got a guest role somewhere in this series as well.
If we should read this, go to Wikipedia.
Yes, that's what I'm on
It is
right
all
now.
there. Anyway, we're going to leave that here before he gets completely sidetracked.
I don't know where they're going.
He has got completely sidetracked, I think he has.
It'll be somewhere.
We'll be back next week with more Doctor Who.
Yeah, next
Or
week
the
is.
next two-parters.
Yeah, it'll be Under the Lake,
So do it every other week.
which is Ghosts.
Ghosts.
Hang on, what the hell?
Oh, God.
The story's being told in reverse order for this two-parter.
Oh, that's going to annoy me.
The first part of the episode is set after the second part. The story's being told in reverse order. Under the Lake, which is the first
Who
one.
does he think he is? Christopher Nolan?
No, he's Toby Whithouse.
Just tell the story's not in the right fucking order.
Right. Under the Lake is set
You
in...
watched Man of Steel, that makes no sense.
Right, here, literally it says, Under the Lake is set in 2119, and Before the Flood, which will be the following week, is set a few hundred years before episode 3. But then again, we are watching about a program that's all about time travel, which means in terms of the plot, it might make sense, because we'll be watching this maybe from the Doctor's perspective.
Who wrote it?
This happens in- time travel.
Who wrote it? Toby Whitehouse.
Toby Whithouse, who's done some of the good ones, actually.
Okay. It's not
He's
even off.
done-
It might make sense.
He did School Reunion, which was the return of K9 and Sarah Jane Smith.
K9 was first, then Sarah Jane. K9 was the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
He also wrote Vampires of Venice.
I completely forgot that episode existed until now.
He wrote The God Complex, which is the one I was telling you about the other day, that my boss at work is friends with the guy who played the Minotaur in that. And he wrote A Town Called Mercy. He's generally written some of the really good ones. Those are all really good episodes. I've never had a problem with any of them.
Forgettable. That's Vampires and Venice. Maybe I completely forgot that even existed. Just
A little bit. God Complex, I really liked the God
Yeah, I
Complex.
like that one.
That was a brilliantly one. Town Called Mercy was a nice one because I had a kind of one that the android that looked a bit like Crichton for me.
Crichton snapped.
And he's doing the two-parters for this series, Under the Lake and Before the Flood. So that'll be what we're doing next week.
Good.
Join us then.